Maib with Mackinac Partners with us now on M&A TV. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
Well, I know you've been speaking at the symposium outside, but we're going to talk a little bit more and dive into some specifics about restructuring, and in particular, a major disruptor. I mean, we've talked about disruptors in the retail industry being things like transportation, and disruptors in healthcare because of the low cost of, of return. But you're going to talk about politics, and nobody's touched that subject yet. So I'm interested to
everybody likes
hear
to
what
steer
you
in
have
this
to
environment.
say.
Nobody wants to sort of, get out there in front of
But it's
the political
obvious.
thing.
It's the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, I think, I've been doing this for a long time, and I think more so than maybe any time in my past, I'm seeing where, it's not leverage, it's not capital markets, it's not technology and industry dynamics. All those things are still there, but now you got this added thing of, lack of labor, lack of an immigration policy that's feeding the availability of labor. I'm currently running a plastic packaging company, right? And so the whole sustainability and the new Green Deal and impacts that potentially has. I mean, the plastics industry is a $500 billion industry in America. It's growing at 5% a year. It's not going to go away, but yet there's no doubt that there's more so than we probably have ever seen momentum behind sort of the environmental sustainability discussion that's going to impact a lot of businesses, and certainly the one I'm running now, it's impacting us in a tremendous way.
But how do you prepare for something like that? I mean, because you don't know what the outcome of legislation is going to be. You just don't know.
Yeah, but you know what the macro movement is. So you know that sustainability and environmental friendly is going to be a common theme to what your products have to include, and what you have to address in the marketplace. So you start investing in other substrates. You start investing in the technology. You start the educational process.
Absolutely, letting the consumer know.
Well, and letting folks know that, behind sustainability, a PLA straw, right? Everybody thinks that's a neat green thing, and, Starbucks and everybody else now has their PLA straw. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you don't, dispose of that straw in a compostable, sort of process, the fact that it's compostable doesn't do any good. And the fact is that straw ends up in a plastic trash can with a plastic liner, gets wrapped up, thrown in a dumpster, and that dumpster gets dumped into a landfill, and that compostable straw that everybody felt good about is going to be sitting there for 100 years. So it doesn't really change the dynamic. So there are other ways and other technologies that are coming out that will address that and deal with it over time.
Any other potential policies out there that are impacting restructuring?
Yeah, again, around labor and the lack of availability of labor, again, a comment I made in the presentations earlier, it's no longer where today, you automate in order to reduce labor costs. You automate because you can't get the labor, right? The people are simply not there. So, you're automating and robotics and additional efficiencies and technologies that drive that, not just the cost of labor, but the fundamental need for the bodies, because you can't find them.
Yeah, and so how does the immigration or lack of an immigration policy impact what you do?
Yeah, so it's the pool of folks that are constantly coming in to feed a growing economy, right? And the semi-skilled and unskilled labor, forces that feed into that. So, when you're operating in, as most of the markets we're operating in that have, 2.5% sort of unemployment, which is effectively no unemployment, right? If you don't have sort of a steady flow of immigration in to feed that, then it's hard to find bodies.
Sure.
It's hard to find bodies, and it flows all the way through. So, the harder it is to find people to do construction work or again, unskilled, the positions around, landscaping and maintenance jobs and things of that nature. As that market gets tighter and tighter, it feeds everybody else's inability to hire people. Wage rates go up. We're seeing, for the first time in a very long time, wage inflation now. And the company I came into, the first thing we did was put in roughly a 20% wage increase across the board for our direct labor force. We had to do that in order to attract people and then maintain the folks that we had there already. So.
Does global politics impact you greatly?
Oh gosh, yeah. The Chinese, the economic, let's just face it, we're in an economic war with China now, and the Chinese imports are really, particularly in the business I'm running now, are really hurting us. Tariffs aren't the answer, but effective trade policies certainly are. We do a lot of aluminum packaging and stamping, and there are the Trump administration placed pretty significant tariffs on the import of aluminum from China. So now they're not importing or exporting aluminum; they're exporting aluminum finished goods, which are not subject to the tariffs.
Oh,
so it's the same thing, right? So the cost advantage that they're subsidizing makes it very, very hard for us to compete.
Europe, just the uncertainty of Brexit and how that's going to impact not just the Brits, but all the countries surrounding and us. How do you prepare for something like that? How do you prepare your companies?
Well, you don't. We do mostly in the middle market, so our European exposure is usually around cost of manufacturing and cost of innovation. I just finished the company we're getting an award for tonight, where we had to restructure, a 50-year-old Italian company, and the labor laws and the ability to make changes in labor in Europe is a driving factor for that. Around Brexit, I don't know to what extent. I think the market has made whatever adjustments it needs to make to adjust for the Brexit. I don't think there's a whole lot left out there. The only thing that's uncertain out there is how long is Theresa May going to keep her job. Beyond that, I don't think. I think the market has known about it for a couple of years now, and they've made whatever adjustments they need to make to it.
Right. Well, congratulations on your award.
Oh, thanks.
For what company was that?
Arca Technologies.
Arca Technologies.
Cash recycling. You didn't think you could recycle cash. You can recycle cash.
Wow, you're a smart
It's fun stuff.
Well, Keith,
Fun
thank you
stuff.
so much for being with us today. Keith Maib is with us today, and again, congratulations on your award tonight.
Thanks.
You're watching M&A TV.